And we are live. Happy Wednesday wisdom, everyone. I am your host, Meisha Johnson. I am just starting to see some of you come through live right now, and I am so glad that you are joining live. And there's a couple different reasons for that. Today is a little bit special, every day is special, but today is particularly special for Mimi Ministries. And I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. So again, welcome to Live Wednesday Wisdom. I'm your host, Meisha Johnson. I've been working in television for over a decade. And after a spiritual awakening in my living room changed my life, I now use my platform to help change yours. And my hope is that by the end of these videos, you'll be even closer to your Creator and deeper in your faith. The number one priority. We're live on Wednesdays, which means don't expect anything to be perfect because it won't be. It also means that you can comment. I read your comments and so does everyone else. So please join in. And if you're watching this later, you can still jump in anytime. Now, before we get started, make sure to click and subscribe. There's also a little bell next to the subscribe button. Hit that as well. By doing so, number one, you'll know when new videos are posted. Number two, you'll be in the running for the blessed gift giveaways from the Holy Land. Gifts that are blessed by a priest in one of the oldest and most holy churches in the world and sent to me for my subscribers only. By the way, a big, huge thank you and a big surprise as well, because today we have hit over 1,000 subscribers. When I started this YouTube channel to preach the gospel and basically spread God's message because of how deeply and profoundly it had impacted my life, I told myself that I understood why people might have a hard time going to that YouTube channel, especially if they knew me from television in only one capacity. But even if only one followed live and heard the message, number one, I knew God would speak to them. Number two, I knew that one lost sheep was worth it to me. And here we sit today, a handful of months later, with over 1,000 subscribers. And I am so humbled to be a part of this with you. So because of that, we are actually giving away 2 blessed bottles of the nard oil today to 2 divinely and randomly chosen people that are with me live today. So at the end of this message, I want you to listen for your names to be called. And if they are, send me a private message with your mailing address. And by the way, if you are unfamiliar with what nard oil is, by the way, it is one of the most precious and blessed oils talked about throughout the 4 Gospels. And I'll actually be putting up another video after this one explaining what exactly this oil is, for future reference, for those of you who are joining in that have maybe never heard of the nard oil. This happens to be one of those blessed gift giveaways that is sent to me from the Holy Land that I give away to you. And I could talk about all of the healing power it has right now, but again, like I said, I'm going to put up a new video about it. So I love you all, and I am so grateful for you being here with me live and for every single person who watches this video later. For those of you who have made the 1,000 plus possible, 2 of you are going to be divinely selected at the end of this message again. So without further ado, because I know you are all on your lunch break, let's get right into today's message. So today we are talking about faith. Another extremely important foundational message that I pulled together from the Gospels of Luke and John, as well as the book of Romans. So today's message is called Faith for Fulfillment, the equal trade-off. Our 3 takeaways are going to be, number 1, problems are moved by having faith first. We have to show and display our faith first before the problems are going to move out of the way. Number 2, faith is developed By actually using it. We will have to, yes, strengthen our faith muscles. And number 3, one of our most dangerous attributes is self-reliance. Now, hold on here. Good. I'm seeing a lot of you starting already to speak back and forth. I want to say this again one more time. Please comment. I love reading later. For the most part, I have to go through the message, so I can't stop and speak to all of your comments as we're going through them live, but I do read them later. And I also love how you all have embraced one another, share ideas, comment, talk about this, and pray for one another. God bless you. I cannot stress enough when people say, why are you doing what you're doing? I cannot stress it enough how blessed I am to, number 1, be doing what I'm doing, and number 2, be in the company of all of you. I just had to go off script for a second, off of my notes here, and say that because you have to know how important each and every single one of you are. Not only that, the impact that you are having on each other's lives. When you're commenting and you're praying for each other like that, that is what it is all about. That is how really solid armies are formed. And when we're talking about a Christian army, there is power in that. So again, those are our 3 takeaways for the day. Now, I want to start the message this way. First of all, what is faith? Well, the definition of faith is complete trust or confidence in someone or something. Or another definition is strong belief in God or in the doctrines of religion based on spiritual apprehension rather than proof. And according to the Bible, Hebrews 11:1 states it simply and perfectly with this: faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. In other words, we see through eyes of faith. We believe in what we cannot see in the natural through our spiritual eyes of faith in the supernatural. And let me make this clear. Faith is the very foundation for everything that we believe in. It's how we're connected to Jesus. It's something that is strengthened by daily use. It is where we will be attacked, by the way, the hardest by the enemy. And with it and by it, all things are possible with faith. Without faith, we can't please God. And if we can't please God, we can't live our very best life. Why? Because it's impossible to be 100% happy, peaceful, and prosperous for long without it, without being in God's will and God's grace. And we need faith to make that happen. So having faith in this life is a really big deal. The importance of having faith is mentioned over 200 times in the New Testament alone. I think it's something like around 260 times, something like that. But it is mentioned in the New Testament alone over 200 times, faith. Romans 1:17 teaches us that people who live just and upright lives live by faith, saying that faith is having total confidence in God. It's important that we learn to be consistently confident in our faith and not just, kind of occasionally confident. Now, there's no doubt that this takes some training because it's not easy to have consistent faith day in and day out, especially in the beginning of our faith walk, or if we are recently coming back to God and our faith. But as we continue to trust God for more, growing more mature in our faith, He will begin to give us more. And the more He gives, the more He shows us. And the more He shows us, the more we trust. So it's cyclical. And faith continues to grow that way. But it starts with us taking the first step. Don't miss this. Faith begins with us having faith first. And then we must stay in faith, no matter how long it takes to see our breakthrough or to accomplish what God wants us to do. If it seems like it's been taking a long time for your prayers to be answered, and you've been doing all that you should be doing, because by the way, we need to check our heart once in a while. If our prayers aren't being answered, we need to check how we've been living. What have we been doing? Is there any sin in our life that we're going to have to take care of? But if you truly believe that you've been doing what you should be doing and you've been praying in faith, your faith, my friend, is being tested. And being tested, it doesn't seem like it, but it is a good thing. Just like when we are developing our physical muscles in the gym, doesn't feel good, but it is a good thing. It is the exact same thing with using our spiritual muscles, building those faith muscles all day, consistent building. So many things in this life will be used to test our faith. Not only will God and not only will the enemy test our faith, but the world will absolutely test our faith as well. People's rejection is going to test us. Not having enough money is going to test our faith. Not being able to find a job, having an illness, or seeing a family member or a loved one with an illness, not knowing what to do, strife in relationships, a troubled marriage, reckless teenagers, bad habits, slow progress, no momentum in our vocations or work. All of these things are going to test our faith. They are going to test our prayer life. It's in these times that God will see up close and personal where our faith is. It's really easy to remain confident and in faith when we are seeing progress, when everything is running smooth in our lives. But times of waiting and drought expose exactly what kind of faith we really have. It's easy to talk about it, but when we are really backed in a corner, and sometimes for lengthy periods of time, it is during